شكرا جزيلا أخوي خالد، وقصة نجاح صراحة تستاهل عليها تصفيق. أم سعود حالة تستحق دراسة، تستحق الجدل، ونجاحكم له أخوي خالد. أخوي خالد التفت تسلم علينا، تستاهل صفقة على نجاح أم سعود. وإذا تبغى توقع معي عقد ترى أنا مالي شغل، عقب المؤتمر فاضيلك 5:30 بخلص جايك. يا وموفق يا أخوي خالد. تطور الموسيقى في عصر التكنولوجيا. رحبوا معي بالمحاور ريتشارد فيتزجرالد اللي راح يحدثنا عن الجلسة القادمة اللي هي بعنوان تطور الموسيقى في عصر التكنولوجيا. مستر جيرد welcome with us. Please come.
How are you? Don't take any pictures for me. Okay.
Working? Yeah, good. Okay, the next panel discussion is the evolution of music at the age of technology, and I'm delighted to be welcomed on stage with three esteemed guests. Mohamed, the Managing Director, Middle East for Warner Music. Ahmed Nureni, the VP of Business Development of Qanawat. And Rami Zeidan, VP of Partnerships for Anghami. Unfortunately, we won't be joined by Mohamed Gaber, who, from Mazzika Group, who wasn't able to travel at the last minute. So, guys, almost the end of day 2 for a really fast-paced Arabnet, an excellent event again. But we're here for the next hour or so to talk about music and technology. So I just mentioned your titles and your positions, but can you give an introduction into your roles and your responsibilities at the moment?
I'm Hamze, and I'm the MD of Warner Music Middle East, which is a wholly owned music company established from Warner Music Group, established recently in the Arab world, in the Middle East and North Africa, based in Beirut. We've been appointed last February, but we've been operational for the past few months, since last July. We'll be overlooking the expansion and the development of our company in the whole Middle East and North African countries.
Okay.
17 different markets.
Okay, great.
My name is Ahmed Nureni. I'm Vice President of Business Development in Qanawat. Qanawat is, we're based in Dubai, but we have offices across the Middle East, Riyadh, Egypt, Morocco. We manage the digital music of more than 800 Arabic artists and local production companies, how they manage their music in the digital online streaming platforms or different social media. We've been into this business more than 14, 15 years. And yeah, I mean, that's very short.
Okay.
I have a microphone, so I'm not going to sing, so let's agree on that. So now, I'm not singing.
He's a singer.
I'm not singing. Anyway, so my name is Rami Zeidan. I head partnerships at Anghami. Anghami is a music streaming platform. One platform with 70 million registered users, 1 billion streams every single month of 30 million songs from Arabic and international roots. Actually, Mo and Ahmed and I, or all of us as Anghami, our 3 companies work together. We license our music from them because everything we play is actually legal. And I'm very excited to be talking about streaming in particular and the evolution of music as we've all lived it. And Mo, you more than anyone have been in there for a very long time. Yeah, very excited to be here. Thank you very much for your time, everyone, for being here.
Yeah. Okay, great. So the topic itself is music and technology. So we could dive right into where we are today, but just to give a bit of context, I would like to start with other ways that technology has changed music. So in the last 20 years or so, if we talk about how we moved from how music was produced, distributed and sold in a kind of a CD world, in a linear TV world, to almost how the MP3 players and the iPods and iTunes kind of disrupted that space, and then into the kind of MySpace space. So how did your companies evolve over time? Some of the companies might not have existed at that time, yeah, if you'd like to start, Mo.
Of course, you know, Warner is a major label that's been for years and years in the music business, and we have an extensive catalog that's been from the late, you know, 50s, 40s, and you know we have a huge historical presence in the industry itself. So we were one of the first. So yes, I personally experienced this move from the late 90s. So this is when I started my career actually in this industry in the 97 as a Warner Music label manager with the licensee then in the Middle East Music Master. And of course the whole consumption changed because it was before it was a push type of with the linear pushing a certain artist using radio, TV, and the retail outlets where you're pushing certain roster of artists, and of course people if they wanted to go directly and buy this product. The late 90s, early 2000, of course when Napster started and the whole ecosystem started to change and the whole industry passed through this ups and downs until everyone agreed that streaming is the future.
Legal streaming.
Of course, legal streaming.
Yeah.
You know, things also changed within this period where was it going to be purely download or streaming, and if it would be a subscription, of course, versus ad-funded, which we will discuss, of course, in the course of this panel. But yeah, it was the industry passed through this tough period since I would say 2000, 2010, and then things changed now.
And how much of that has been led by industry players such as labels, or has it all been reactionary to consumer behavior?
Look, at the end of the day, it's the consumer that sets the rules, you know, and at the end of the day, the consumer is the center. In our case, we're always also looking at the artist and their interest. Yeah. It's about the artist, and as our slogan as well is for Warner, it's about the music. So yeah, of course this changed, but the whole industry needed to decide, and it took time for them to realize how we can still work within this new ecosystem, and it's still developing, but now we're set on a very positive path to grow back the industry to what it was, hopefully, at the CD period.
Okay, great. And Ahmed, how has the role of aggregators in music changed? Was there a role for a company like yours 20 years ago, and how has that evolved?
I mean, for us being in the Middle East, and I remember in 2005 or 2004, 2005, once you go and talk one artist or one local music production, we want to have your music in the digital. Okay, he'll give you the tape. Okay, take it. Okay, so having the culture of buying a CD that you own, the ownership of the CD, and having that start to change. We're seeing that. So it was a difficulty. Okay, for sure. Still, the Middle East is in the transition from the normal culture of I want to buy the content, I want to use, I want to own it. Okay, to having the discovering of millions of the songs, the technology how it's moving. Instead of you having your CD player or your tape player, you have to take it everywhere. People start to move because the technology is moving very fast. Your mobile, you're moving everything. So for us, we have to move fast on this. So we've been one of the first companies talking to all local artists okay? And educating them that if you're looking for your fans, you need to be engaged with your fans, this is the way that you need to go.
Yeah.
Okay? Changing that mentality, start to getting different. Start to getting very difficult. Having the strategy of the artist that you need to put digital, YouTube, streaming platforms, all of this part of your music vision. We have seen also before, as Mo mentioned, an artist, if you want to have a song, then you have to go through a lot of process. It was very difficult. Okay,
Yeah.
so for us to reach that artist, then he has to go through a record label. You have to build the whole official documentations, everything. Now, discovering that artist, he can just post one song in his social media or in the YouTube or some of the platforms get very famous, so you can easily get him. So even discovering the artist, discovering those kind of talent is much easier now than before.
Yeah.
So for our role, for sure, start to get much easier in terms of discovering, but still have difficulties of putting the artist mentality in the region for this part.
Okay, so you have to listen to what the artist wants as well.
Still they're controlling.
Yeah, they're controlling.
I mean, they still have that mentality. Okay, we always discussions with the...
Yeah.
Because a lot of those artists were actually, they started their careers in the CD days.
Yeah.
Right? So they were wired and they built the foundation of where they stand today on that distribution, go buy my CD, please. But there are two things today. There is what digital has done and there is what technology has done.
Yeah.
And those two things are completely different. What digital has done is it's disrupted the music industry in a bad way, right? Because we saw that when the whole Napster things just started. What digital allowed people to do is they allowed them to access music for free, piracy, and people just stopped paying for it, and the revenue of the music industry just dove in. What technology allowed us to do is to save the music industry. So when Anghami started in the Middle East 6 years ago, this region did not have a streaming service at the time. People were used to discovering music of social platforms like Facebook and YouTube and so forth, and it became a habit of I'll consume what I stumble upon and I search for what I want to listen to right now. And we believe the success of Anghami was because we were able to provide a mobile experience for music discovery that allowed people to consume the songs they like, a machine that would tell them what and keep giving them music that they like so easily that when we started the company in November 2012, we had a target of hitting around 250,000 users in like 3 months, and we hit 1 million. And then we hit 10 million in the first year, and then we hit 50 million in the third year, because people wanted the experience. And the technology made that happen.
Yeah.
So, and we'll talk a little bit about the technology, I think, because I don't want to jump through that. But
so just going back to that point, so, there's an excellent book called Startup Arabia, and there's interviews with many of the key companies in the region, and there's one with the founder of Anghami, and he explains that he or his co-founder wanted to go skiing, and rather than having to pick a playlist before, upload it onto a portable device, that he just wanted to stream music, and that was the kind of gap in the consumer, the behavior wanted that experience, that utility.
And that's the thing, because what happens now is when you download 10,000 songs, there is that gratification of feeling like a hacker, right? I just got 10,000 phones and I put them on Anghami, or I have an app that allows me to download stuff from YouTube to play them offline and so forth. There's that feeling of, look, an accomplishment. But at the end of the day, if I'm driving and I want to listen to this specific song at the moment, good luck searching your mobile phone between 10,000 songs that are weirdly named, right?
Yeah.
So what technology has brought in with streaming services in particular, it allowed the technology to do that. And Anghami, you can search for a song with voice. You can search for the lyrics of the song. You can search for the name of the artist. And you play one song and it just flows. So there's a lot of artificial intelligence game. There's a lot of user experience. There's a lot of a platform being specialized to recommend music based on your taste. And being a mobile today, we capture data from, we talked about data, we capture data of movement. We know if you're an active user when you're listening to music or you're an idle user. We know that if you're young, you discover new music because you're building memories, and if you're older, like me, you're listening to older generation music that you were raised on because those are the songs that you built memories on. That's why I sit with a lot of people here in Saudi and I say, what do you listen to? And they tell me, we listen to El Qadim. the old music. It's because that's the songs that they were raised with memories on with their parents and so forth, and that's what's out there today for people to listen to. So discovery and the ease of playing music became a big deal, and that's what streaming's put on the table. It said, remove all the hassle of doing anything. If any artist from Rabah Sagir to Majid Mohandes to Kelly Rowland to anyone just launches a song, it's in your pocket instantaneously. You don't need to do anything.
That's really interesting. I think, before us there was an influencer panel, and on these stages that we've talked about content and video, but music in a way still has got it's just become more fragmented, like advertising has, but in a way the consumer can, they have the choice of where to consume music, but you still have the same ecosystem around it. It's just more fragmented. So, how is that kind of, if I'm an artist and I need a record label, you still need someone to represent you. You still need licensing agreements. Everything that you needed before, has it become more complicated?
It's the same process actually, and one of the issues that, since now we just tackled many topics, and most importantly the piracy point, because piracy existed in the region at the time we had legal CDs and distribution, but piracy was huge, and still in the digital world we're still faced, especially in this emerging market, with piracy.
Are people downloading illegally? Are they streaming illegally? Are they purchasing?
Both mainly, but
they're going to sources that don't have music that are licensed.
There's
Mainly on social or some torrent sites or whatever it is.
There's still some websites.
It's just not regulated in many places.
There's still till today there are some websites that are offering like the streaming music illegally, or you can download still. We are
some
trying
apps and things like that.
piracy. Still.
Can we do a quick synopsis of who here listens to music, please, by raise of hand? And do you use Anghami or any similar service like Spotify or so? Anghami? Okay. And who listens to music on YouTube? And who downloads music from YouTube on some app called MP3 Ripper? So just to get
YouTube.
Why is that an app that is illegal?
No. The music on YouTube, a lot of it is licensed when it comes from sources, but there's a lot of user-generated content that comes out. But there's a lot of illegal apps where people download music to play them
You can download and rip it from.
Yeah, that's the illegal part.
This is the illegal part. So there's a lot of work to be done, honestly, and this is why one of the reasons people ask us why we're coming to the region. Honestly, when we talk about streaming, we're still scratching the surface of the potentials in the whole emerging markets, just even in the developed markets. Let's say in Germany, I can tell you the penetration in terms of paid subscription towards the households there is 15% versus I would say around 73% when you talk about cable TV penetration within UK, US and Germany. So we're still in early, even with the developed markets. When you talk about 100, maybe 40 million paid subscriber worldwide.
It's more than.
But it's still so, a little versus the amount of people online who are streaming in general.
There's a huge, like Anghami, I think one of the flattering things for you guys is that so many new players have emerged, such as, Apple Music, but Deezer and Spotify. But compare with subscription TV, in the region there might be 1 million subscribers on Stars Play or something like that, or 1/5 of that on Netflix, whereas Anghami have 70 million,
so
not paid, but streaming.
The economics between video and music are completely different. And here's the difference. The life cycle of film has two tiers to it. The long form movies that goes through cinema, and then from cinema to pay TV or wherever it is, to then go to DVDs and then come to services, provides this value. So the money made in the movie business is in the beginning of the funnel. Cinema, blah, blah. And then when you look at series that have emerged, if you look at Star Space and Netflix, and those are high production pieces of content that are only available on either or, Netflix or Star Space, whatever it is. So people tend to buy to watch that particular series. So they follow a specific piece of content. And that's their struggle, because if I need to watch 2 series that's available on 2 platforms, I need 2 subscriptions. In music, the economics are completely different. The economics is I go to one place and it has everything. The problem is the video content is not available easily or as easily for free as music is, which makes people say, well, if I can listen to music for free, why would I pay for it? And in the music business, people still listen to very old music. So the back catalog and the historical catalog of music is extremely important. How many times are you going to watch, I don't know, Cinderella? Sorry, I have 8-year-old kids, so I still watch Disney movies. All right, so how many times are you going to watch a very old movie? How many times are you going to watch Armageddon? How many times are you going to watch, maybe exceptionally Friends, you'll watch it 3 times in your life, the series. So the life cycle of the content is completely different. That's why the economics become different. And we have 70 million registered users, but almost 80% of the people who use Anghami use it for free.
Okay.
Right?
Which is other questions.
And where the freemium versus, where do you see it in terms of, do you make more money for your artists through partnerships, through radio, through TV, or do you make it direct from the consumer through purchasing tickets or music or streaming?
Just before you go to that question, regarding the video and the audio.
Okay.
For sure, YouTube is one of the largest now online video platform that people watch music. The people who are, for example, once we launch a video song or once we launch any song, the strategy on the YouTube and the audio platform is totally different, because the people who are watching the YouTube, they might watch 1 song, 2 songs. How long you will stay on the YouTube? On the audio, on the streaming platforms, you might stay during the gym, walking, driving. So once we want to push any video, okay, we understand the mentality of our audience. So we tell the artist, it's a video clip, it's what different things. Lately in the GCC, for example, we see a lyrics video, which is just very simple, just the picture with the lyrics, and it's making a huge traffic. So this one of the things just I want to highlight. It's totally different, the mentality. The second, regarding your question, freemium and the premium, we always have that like battle discussion with all the streaming services. Either it was Anghami, Deezer, Spotify. I remember one of the artists, he came to us and said, hey guys, I'm very happy, I'm very excited. I have like 2 million streams on Anghami. I have 4 million streams on Deezer. Shall I get like $1 million? When are you going to say no, $1 million? You know? So still that issue is still available. Now, yeah.
I'm sorry. Just wanted to say the value of the paid subscriber. When we say one paid subscription is 40 times greater than a video ad supported value supported user, and it's 7 times greater than an ad supported on audio.
To the artist or to the platform?
To the whole industry.
To
the whole industry. So we're saying 45 over the video and 7 times.
So as the future of an industry, the subscription is more important than ad-funded.
For the future of the consumer as well, because here's the thing. If there is no money in the music business, good quality content is going to become something that's very small, and low quality production is going to become the larger volume. So it's not that quality music is going to disappear, but there's going to be so much more less quality songs than quality songs. It hurts the industry. So when everybody here decides to pay 18 riyals for a monthly subscription, they're feeding into a much, much bigger picture, fueling the music industry. 1, to generate more rising talent. 2, to generate more content. 3, to generate more quality content that people would love, right? If you look at the landscape from international, there's pop, there's rock, there's rap, there's R&B, there's funk rock, there's punk rock, there's... in Arabic, there's Khaliji, Lebanese, and Egyptian. And there's romance, and there's dance. That's it. So the fragmentation of places like markets in Egypt where you have the indie scene and the alternative scene all comes because of an ongoing ecosystem. In Egypt, you get a rising talent or an emerging talent like Sharmoon on a stage, they have 40,000 people attending. So there is money one way or another. So the gameplay of streaming services today is to, one, facilitate the experience through technology, get people to buy into this easier experience, and then eventually convert and start paying.
But the only issue is that what we have seen is, I mean, as a percentage, you said, the freemium is still much higher than the premium. As a music, worldwide, exactly, 60-40 average, okay? As a music for us, it's good that you have seen a huge consumption freemium because it's part of education. I remember in 2012 or 13 when I met Eddie, want to go to streaming service, okay? Co-founder of Anghami, he's like, okay, then you need to let people understand what's streaming first, education in the market, okay? It's not easy, okay? Which appreciated because an Arabic company going to that direction. That bring a huge attraction, okay, from the international well-known music services to enter to the market. That's why now Deezer in the market, Spotify in the market, the international music labels, they're coming to invest in this market, okay? The music here, for example, in Saudi Arabia, let's say once you see like very fragmented music, okay? Saudi Arabia, there's 3-4 different music types. You have Shailat, you have Islamic content, you have the Khaliji music. The new segment is coming is R&B hip hop, which is his fan of it, okay? So you have in Egypt, you have Maharajana. So to discover all this kind of music, which is available in the YouTube, again, for us, frankly speaking, so far, we are making revenue to our artists from the YouTube more than what we are making in the streaming audio services.
Because the catalog is there. And
it's a huge, different reasons, okay? The streaming, the problem that what we have seen that we always discussions with all the music service providers is that you have to work on what's the value that you can get from the premium, okay? These are huge values. Now, if you're on Rami Plus, things that you can get is amazing, okay? This kind of education now is in the first strategy, Spotify, Deezer, Anghami, all the audio streaming is that let me get the people come to the service, enjoy it because they have the mentality is YouTube. YouTube you watch, just skip out, that's it. So to get the users in, understand what's the streaming, I think now the focus should be how I can move those users and subscribers to a premium, which is a very big challenge.
And we were speaking before, Ahmed, about the artists sometimes don't get the value. They might say, just like in the kind of media publishing space, some of our competitors won't put their content on Snapchat or because they want to value their content, but actually then they'll miss out 2 or 3 million audience. You know, Snapchat were telling us before that people know Vogue as a Snapchat publisher, a certain demographic who never knew it as a magazine. But if you're a legacy publisher and you're used to $50 CPMs for ads, either digitally or not, you won't go on to these platforms, but then you'll miss a whole generation. And I think you mentioned earlier some artists would be reluctant to go onto streaming platforms because they don't see the revenue return, but ultimately they're missing a huge fan base.
Look, honestly, artists, everyone now realizes the importance of streaming, of course. And again, when we talked about technology and how important it is for, and change the whole consumption, and of course, we forgot the production side. I mean, when we, in the 70s, 80s, and even early 90s, to go to a studio was a privilege. Not anyone could afford it to go and record an album, even a song. It was cost a lot of money. And to get it out, again, to go through the hassle of finding a label, printing albums, distribution, it was a big issue to get your music listened to and released. However, technology now, with your laptop, you can, this is what's happening. You can do
Can I give an example on this?
So the barrier to entry.
Can I give an example on this? We had a real experience. I'm not sure if some of the people know the song, that one Iraqi song called Ta'al. Okay? Mustafa Abdullah. Okay? The song is very simple. Okay, the guys in the studios, our friends, they just put the mobile there, the video, and they just sing, and the song brought within 6 months more than 270 million views.
Okay.
And it's doing one of the top hits on Anghami. It's one of the top hits on Apple Music. It's one of the top, and even one of the guys told us in the streaming service, it was making much higher during that time than the song of Kiki.
Yeah, Drake.
Drake song, okay, for that 1 week, okay.
You can do the dance, Rami.
Yeah.
I said Kiki, I said in my feeling.
So the production, as he mentioned,
Yes.
now is much easier with the cameras available, which is very digital.
Yeah.
You don't have to get a lot of license. You don't have to get a lot of things, which is good and bad because it makes a lot of artists in the market that they don't go through a real process of being an artist.
But you also mentioned...
But this gets me to the point where, especially for all streaming services and all platforms, that you have loads and loads of daily content that's been produced. And the question now is the discoverability and how you're going to get premium content versus other content. And this is where the role of, when you say premium services, because this gets us to the tech side and how technology can leverage.
And where we're going. So, you mentioned before that there's a myth that, you know, music streaming platforms suit established artists, but actually that's not necessarily true.
It's not true at all because, of course, the importance of streaming is how barriers, you know, there are no more barriers between countries, cultures, anything. It's just like instantly you have a major artist puts music there and it's listened to worldwide, same time, same minute.
Yeah.
Yes.
And of course, well-established artists, they have their fan base and they have the ability to draw a lot of attention when they release it. However, also new artists, and they have a potential now, as he mentioned, with a simple song that can become an instant hit. Of course, it doesn't happen this way. A lot of artists also are under the impression that, okay, we can record, we just upload the song through an aggregator platform and our music is everywhere, but that's not it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of work that should be follow up with this, and this is the role of the labels and management and the whole, you know, ecosystem. And the problem, I'm sorry, just to continue my idea, is that what we lack here is a lot of education in many aspects, from legislative, copyright, and it gets us to the whole system and the whole Arab world. I'm not talking about a particular country. So there's a lot to be done here.
Yeah.
And again, this is where it gets me to talk about the new technologies that we should be, that's very important. The voice technology, you know, the Echo, Alexa, and the voice commands, and this is the future.
Yeah.
And this is where only premium subscription would be able to work on that, and where our role as well when we invest in tech to help artists to be discovered.
Yeah.
And so we call it like we build Alexa skills over artists, so you know the system will automatically gets you to interact with your artist content basically.
So where is the technology today? Where is Anghami's technology? Are we in that kind of AI advanced machine learning space with recommendations, or is it a case of it's just good fast streaming?
I think so. Here's the. I'll give a little bit of what we're doing, and from this stage I will talk about what we're launching as well. Technology is the main fuel and driver. So there are 3 legs here. Leg number 1 is AI, so artificial intelligence and data analysis that happens by the machine that always puts the right song for you, so it does the music recommendations for you. Number 2 is the social element of things. We live in a world of social. Everybody is on social media, everybody wants to interact with friends, everybody wants to share songs with friends, and everyone wants to hear what their friends are playing. And the third thing, obviously, is the game of interactivity and why people love the mobile. Simple stuff like filters on Snapchat and the simple things that happen on mobile, people just go crazy. So here are a couple of examples of leveraging technology, social, and AI on Anghami. Number 1, we have a feature called the Mixtape Maker. So if you're sick and tired of the songs that you've been hearing, and if 3,000 playlists on Anghami is just not enough for you, you go to the mixtape maker, you open it up, you choose 3 artists you're in the mood to listen to, and the app, through its AI, generates a playlist for you, right? You can do voice command. You can choose this, you can tell Anghami play X, play Y, just by voice when you're driving. You can radar a song. So basically, if we're in a hall and there's a music and there's a song playing, you can just open radar inside Anghami and scan the song, and it'll tell you which song it is. You add it to your playlist straight away. There's stories now on Anghami. So stories are known to be on Instagram and on Facebook. It's also on Anghami. Why? Because it's innate that people discover discover songs from people. Your friends most of the time tell you, did you hear the Kiki song? Right? And then you go, no, what is it? And so now you discover songs from friends by just looking at their stories. A sleep timer. So technology is a big deal, and we live in a social world where just going to one place to listen to music and going to another app to scan a song and going to a third app to create a video. Video expressions on Anghami that allows you to create 15-second videos from your favorite songs makes the music experience now fun. So it's not just about listening to a song or searching for the song you want to play, it's about what you can do with the song as well, and how you can share it on social platforms, and how you can create videos from it and discover it from friends and speak to the machine and tell Alexa, play this from Anghami, and so forth. Anghami today is on Apple TV, it's on PlayStation 4, it's on CarPlay, it's on Android Auto, it's on wearables. And that's the power of technology. The power of technology, which is the headline of today's panel, and the role of streaming services, is making it available. So us, Spotify, Deezer, every single platform, we're hooked up to the same content sources. So mind you, it's not about who has more music. We all have the same content sources, and we as Anghami are on the ground, so we are going to speak to those rising communities that are starting their music and bring them in. Today there are 50,000 artists that are signed up directly onto Anghami, right? So the content is not the issue. The issue and differentiation is in the technology itself and what it offers beyond music. In a world where you sit on your mobile with 50 apps and you probably use 4 or 5 of them, how can we make Anghami the music entertainment platform for you, not just the music player for you, which is what the old mentality was. So technology for us and the social element of life plays a very big role in how we want to evolve the music experience, because that's what's going to allow us to raise the value of music and get more people to buy into the experience and not buy into music.
I mean, the new generation, okay, all the millennials, all the things, okay, they are on move, okay, the technology, those guys are very advanced, okay, they are on TV, Apple, they are here, so if they need to be ahead, okay, and this will help us as a content, our music content to be available in the latest technology where it can be reached to those people. Engagement is very important for us, because now artist, he might have his own page on Anghami or Deezer or Spotify, okay, or Apple, that he can communicate directly with his fans under Anghami, for example. Okay, what do you think about my song? I'm launching next week a song. What do you want the name? Okay, so it's helping us as a content for us owner. One of the points is that as a record label as well, just to comment on more, I totally 100% agree that we need to put a system, we need to put a structure of organizing on all the new, everybody's trying to have a song now. I'm an artist, we have copyright issues in this region. It's a huge copyright issues in this region. Qanawat, we face a lot, okay? From the composer to the lyrics to the singer, who owns this and who owns that, and the structure itself is not clear in so many countries in the Middle East, okay? So yes, this is the rule. That's what we love for us as a Qanawat. Once we see an international companies like either it was Universal, Sony or Warner in the Middle East, okay, to have that structure, that mentality, okay, with discussions with all of the labels, how you're doing the publishing concepts in other countries. There's a collection societies, there's the whole ecosystem of being a record label. This is what we need to learn from them. That's what they are having.
An industry, we need to set an industry structure. And when you say industry, it's a supply chain, model. And there's so many gaps within this supply chain that we need to work on in the Middle East.
Is that supply chain being disrupted in in more advanced markets with the streaming services? Is it all established and does it flow nicely?
Of course, I mean, in well-developed markets, it's well-structured. And of course, streaming falls in a consumption model that every aspect from the industry they're able to work with. And again, here in this part of the world, we still have a long way.
So we do need more established industry. We do need regulation.
Regulation, of course, and there are so many factors from societies. First of all, it's legislation and laws, and then to implement these laws. And of course, at the end of the day, we need to say to the world that a consumer is paying for a service, but we also need to grow an industry and develop artists. And when you say artist development and cultural development, it's where we need to have the flow of the income going in the right way. And talking about tech, again, this is when I wanted to since Rami discussed how they're leveraging technology for their consumers, also as a label, we work a lot internally to develop a lot of tech services internally to help our new releases and artists being discovered. And there's a short video, if we can just play it.
Sure.
Just.
Can we play the video, please? The technology one?
Yeah, Allah, DJ.
Play the record.
Something I started noticing about you. It's suspicious you switched up all your lipstick for some. You clean your innocence. You say I'm losing it in your mind. That's all you're getting out of the mouth of me. You're you're right. And somebody else, is it two or three? I never get up. Something just running up between you and me. And somebody else, count me out, 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 count me out.
You know what we need to do from Arabnet next time? We need to incubate a lot of people to create technologies like this for this market. Like really, the equalizer stuff, having fun with music. This is stuff that that's
What
needed.
do you think of the Musical.ly and the TikTok trends, these apps? Like, how does that fit into
We
it?
started something called expressions. So today if
Right.
you're on Rami and you go,
But
you
you have
say
to stop that,
share, and then you put a song, it's there. And they're stopping us from doing it because but that's the game plan is now we're in talks with TikTok for an integration. Because today music is an entertaining thing. It's not an activity. You don't just stand there and say, okay, I want to listen to music now. You don't do that, right? You listen to music when you're doing something else. You listen to music when you're driving, when you're working out, when you're studying, when you want to focus. It's a companion. So when you want to just listen to music, you want to do something with it. And that's the game changer.
I mean, TikTok, I mean, you see, the music is trying to move to social media more. I mean, more engagement. I want to sing user-generated content, okay? Applications like TikTok, previously Musical.ly, okay? We are in discussions with them. The problem is that, again, we're coming to the point of monetization of the content, okay? If there is any monetization, it's fine. But there's no monetization of the content for any UGC, okay? Then we have an issues as a content owners.
I mean, Musical.ly or TikTok, it's part of our a lot of engagement tools and
partnerships.
We do that eventually, and part of what we just showed, like we created this technology for listening sessions, which is a global listening session for one album that. A lot of people like the Twitch experience for gamers, but on the music side, and where listeners, they can go on a URL and they listen to the album, and there's this chat room and they discuss that. And this is also something we worked a lot on Follow to Win, and all these games. Now we have a new app, it's called Run the Mic, which is basically rap battles between users, and we just, so there's a lot of things to get users engaged and fun. At the end of the day, music should be fun, and people should be happy.
Okay, we're about to run out of time, so just to end on a kind of prediction note, where do we see the industry going in the next, you can have that, sorry, there we only have 3. In the next 12 months, particularly in this region and Saudi Arabia, we see great concerts happening here this weekend. We see new competitors coming into the streaming space. Where do you see, what would we be talking about in 12 months' time?
Actually, I'm happy we have 2 artists coming in the coming 3 days. We have Jason Derulo and David Guetta coming.
So all are invited. For free.
Everyone in the audience is welcome. Thanks, man.
So the thing is, look, there's a lot of work to be done, and we're here to do that, and we're so happy that actually we're from this region and we're investing in talents in the region, whether talents on like people like us or artists, and we have to help a lot of government organizations and of course private sector to grow this industry. We see the main challenge now is to work on conversion rates with the new services. We see a great future. As I said, we're just scratching the surface of the industry. And again, just want to say something that one of our colleagues said before in a presentation. Music now is the disruptor and not being disrupted.
Yeah.
Good. That's a good note to finish on. Yeah.
For us, I mean, I think there was a market research from Arabian business. It was showing that the last 12 months, 25 or 28% increase in the music streaming in Saudi Arabia.
YouGov survey,
YouGov, exactly, which is very promising, very optimistic for all of us. So to have 25% increase in the last 12 months, so we're expecting also the coming 12 months there will be increase on the music streaming consumption. The interesting part also, which also makes us very optimistic based on the YouGov research, is that 35% is increase in the subscription. The people that subscribe to the music
starting to subscribe,
which is also very optimistic. The other thing is that we have seen, for example, in 2018, we are talking about only from the GCC, the Gulf region, we are having more than 800 to 900 music releases in 1 year. 2017 it was a little bit down, 18 now more releases coming up, a lot of artists. Second, the last point that I would like to highlight is the users now, the young generations, they start to get very streaming background. So this is only I would like to conclude that there's a good, we are very optimistic on the streaming.
And Rami, is there room for all these new players in the market? Is there, and what's the space going to be like in 12 months' time?
So I want to take a second here to share our pride as Anghami, as an Arabic company from this region that's currently evaluated at over $100 million, to have started this journey 6 years ago to regulate a pirated market and reach a level of over 70 million registered users that are playing music here. So we believe this accomplishment has allowed global players to pay attention to our market to come. Our current forecast and what the future is going to hide for us is we're going to remain committed to the culture of this market because we are from this market. We have an office in Riyadh, Cairo, Beirut, Morocco, Dubai, and Los Angeles to connect us to global trends that bring us here. We were going to be working more with the rising community. Those are the generation that are going to keep us in business in the next 5 to 10 years. That's why we are doing Anghami Originals. That's why we're doing Anghami Sessions. That's why we're collaborating with our partners to sort of work on how we can drive discovery for their upcoming rising talents. And obviously, technology is going to remain to be one of our biggest focus points to ensure that we are always putting on the table new features that just make music consumption more fun again. Music is not just about playing the song, but it's about the experience that it brings to it. And my forecast in the next hour is after we're done with this, when there's a break, there's an Anghami booth outside. So go out, get your promo code, and try Anghami Premium, so then you can subscribe later.
Brilliant.
And make everyone happy here.
Okay.
So meet us there, and let's talk more about music.
Okay, amazing. Thanks very much, guys. We're out of time, but we could clearly talk about this for hours. Thanks very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.